Good evening, dear listener. Before you rest your head and let sleep slowly carry you away, I invite you to take a gentle journey with me. Tonight, we will wander through the calmest and most relaxing facts about weather, those little truths of our atmosphere that often go unnoticed, but which hold a special, soothing charm. Weather, after all, is not only a force of storms and extremes, it is also the tender rhythm that shapes our daily lives, the quiet background music of existence, and a reminder that we live beneath a sky that is always alive, always changing, always breathing along with us. Think of the weather as nature's lullaby. The soft patter of raindrops against a window, the hush of snow falling in the night, the whisper of a breeze through summer leaves. These are not just meteorological events. They are sounds and sensations that relax the body and ease the mind. They connect us to something larger, something timeless, something that has accompanied humanity since our first nights beneath the stars. In this way, weather becomes more than science. It becomes comfort. As you prepare to drift towards sleep, imagine that you are lying beneath an endless sky. The air around you is calm. You can hear only faint, familiar sounds, the hum of wind, the distant memory of rain, the quiet pulse of nature. Every moment in this sky holds a story. Every shift in air, every droplet of water, every glimmer of sunlight carries meaning. And tonight, we will share 100 of these little meanings, 100 gentle facts designed not to excite you, but to relax you, to ease you into slumber with their quiet wonder. Weather has always been with us. Long before calendars or clocks, the rise of the sun and the change in the wind told people when to plant, when to gather, when to rest. Our ancestors read the sky as carefully as you might read a book. They found patterns in clouds, lessons in storms, comfort in sunshine. And though we now have satellites and forecasts, the simple, timeless beauty of weather remains unchanged. A raindrop still falls with the same music. A snowflake still spins silently to earth. A gentle breeze still brushes the skin as if it were the touch of an old friend. Why does weather soothe us so? Perhaps it is because it places us back into rhythm. Our lives are often full of noise and hurry, but the sky above moves at its own pace. A sunset takes its time. A drizzle lingers without concern. A fog drapes itself across the land, slowly, patiently. These unhurried movements remind us that not everything needs to be rushed, that there is beauty in stillness, and that rest is as important as activity. When we listen to the weather, we remember how to slow down. And so, tonight's journey is not a stormy one. It is a gentle walk through the sky's softest moments. We will not speak of hurricanes or heat waves, but of breezes and rainbows, of snowflakes and dewdrops, of the comforting patterns that make weather our oldest companion. Each fact you will hear is small, but each carries the power to quiet the mind. They are reminders that even in a restless world, the atmosphere can be a source of serenity. Let us begin, then, with something as simple as the sound of rain. For many, the patter of rain is the most relaxing sound in nature. Scientists call it pink noise, a sound that balances frequencies in a way that helps the brain to release tension. But you do not need science to explain why it feels good. You only need to listen. Drip, drip, drip. A rhythm steady and calm, never hurried, never sharp. Rain on a rooftop is as close to a lullaby as the earth itself can give. Or consider the way clouds float above us. A typical cumulus cloud may weigh hundreds of tons, and yet it drifts like cotton, soft and light. Looking at clouds reminds us that even weight can be carried gently. They teach us that heaviness does not always mean hardship, that even what seems impossible can move softly across the sky. As you watch them, you may feel your own burdens grow lighter, as if carried for a while by the wind. Weather also teaches us silence. Snow, for example, has a remarkable ability to quiet the world. When snow covers the ground, it muffles sound, absorbing the sharp edges of noise until everything feels hushed. Walking in fresh snow at night can feel like stepping into another world, one where silence itself is alive. That silence has a calming effect on the human mind. It slows thought, softens breath, and makes room for sleep. Even the sun, which seems so powerful and bright, has its gentle side. The first rays of dawn are soft, tinted with pink and gold. They warm the skin not harshly, but tenderly, as though the sky itself is whispering, "Good morning." This same light, seen at dusk, becomes a farewell kiss. Both dawn and dusk remind us that transitions can be peaceful, that beginnings and endings do not have to be abrupt. In all these ways, weather surrounds us with comfort. It is not always obvious. We often focus only on the dramatic, the storm, the flood, the heat. But if you pay attention, you will notice that most weather is quiet, patient, and calm. It is the sigh of wind at twilight, the sparkle of dew at dawn, the scent of earth after rain. These are not just facts, they are invitations to rest. So tonight, as you listen, allow yourself to be carried by these stories. With each fact, let your body grow heavier, your breath slower, your mind quieter. You are safe here, under this sky. The weather is not something to fear tonight. It is something to embrace, to let wash over you like a soft blanket. This is the gentle introduction to our journey, 100 calming facts about weather, designed to help you drift into sleep. Each one is small, but together they form a landscape of peace. As we move forward, we will travel through clouds and rain, through snow and sunshine, through all the softest sides of the atmosphere. So close your eyes, if you haven't already. Breathe in deeply. Let the air, shaped by weather, fill your lungs and remind you that you are part of this rhythm too. And as you exhale, imagine the sky above, patient and eternal, holding you in its embrace. Weather is everywhere. Weather is constant. And tonight, weather is your lullaby. When we think of weather, we often imagine clouds, rain, or wind. But one of the most enchanting gifts the sky offers us is color. The colors of the sky are not painted once and left untouched. They are always shifting, always moving, always whispering new moods. From the soft blush of dawn to the fiery canvas of sunset, from the deep indigo of twilight to the pale silver of a full moon, the sky is an artist that never stops working. And tonight, as you prepare to rest, we will let these colors carry you into calmness, reminding you of beauty that unfolds every day, above our heads, without demand, without hurry. Imagine first the gentle moment of sunrise. Before the world fully wakes, the sky begins to glow with faint shades, delicate pinks, warm oranges, tender golds. These colors are born because of something simple: sunlight scattering through the atmosphere. Tiny particles in the air bend the light, stretching it into hues that paint the horizon. Science explains it with wavelengths and refraction, but you don't need science to appreciate the feeling. That soft golden light at dawn is the Earth's way of saying, "Good morning." It reminds us that each day begins gently, with possibility, and with peace. Now think of sunset. It is both similar and opposite to sunrise. At the end of the day, when the sun lowers itself toward the horizon, the same scattering fills the sky with shades of crimson, violet, and deep amber. Sunset is the sky's lullaby. It tells us, "You've done enough. Rest now." For many people, watching a sunset feels like meditation. The colors slow our breathing, ease our thoughts, and remind us that endings can be beautiful. Falling asleep after watching a sunset feels easier, as though the sky has prepared the mind for rest. During the day, the colors change too. The bright blue of a clear sky is another gift of scattering shorter blue wavelengths bouncing in all directions. That same blue has been proven to lift mood, to give us a sense of clarity and energy. And when the sky is dotted with white clouds, the contrast makes the blue seem even deeper, even more alive. It is simple, but it is profound. The color blue above us is a comfort that has existed for as long as there have been eyes to see. There are subtler colors, too, that many people miss. Think of twilight, the brief time after sunset, but before night fully arrives. The sky then turns shades of indigo, violet, and deep blue, blending seamlessly as though the world were dipping into dream. Twilight is a reminder of transition, a natural pause between day and night. For many cultures, twilight has been seen as sacred, a moment when the veil between worlds feels thin. For you, as you rest, it can simply be a reminder to slow down, to let the soft colors of the sky lead you towards sleep. Even at night, the sky offers its palette. The pale silver glow of a full moon, the faint sparkle of starlight, the occasional green and purple dance of auroras. These are colors of darkness, but not of fear. They are gentle colors, quiet companions that remind us the night is not empty. Instead, it is filled with calm light, waiting for us to notice. Sometimes weather changes these colors in surprising ways. After a storm, the sky can glow with double rainbows, bands of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet bending gracefully across the horizon. Rainbows are not permanent. They come and go quickly, reminding us that beauty can be brief but still meaningful. Seeing a rainbow often makes people smile without knowing why. It is because the sky, after its wildness, has chosen to offer a gift of gentleness. There are rarer colors, too. On certain evenings, if the air is just right, you might glimpse something called the green flash. For a brief second, as the sun dips below the horizon, a small emerald sparkle appears. It lasts only a heartbeat, but it is real, and it reminds us that even the most familiar events, the sun rising and setting, still hold mysteries. Weather paints the sky differently in every place. In deserts, sunsets glow with fiery oranges because of dust in the air. Near oceans, the sky takes on softer blues and pinks, reflecting the water below. In winter, skies can be sharp and pale, almost icy in their tones. In summer, they may glow with thick gold, heavy with heat. Each climate, each region, has its own colors to soothe the eyes and spirit. And then there are the skies of memory. Everyone carries a picture of a sky that meant something special. The evening you first noticed how long the sunset lasted, or the morning when the clouds glowed pink and made you pause. These skies become part of us. They are not only weather events, they are bookmarks in our story, moments where time slowed down and color spoke louder than words. The ever-changing sky teaches us an important lesson for rest. Nothing is permanent, and that is beautiful. Clouds move, colors shift, the sun rises and falls. Change does not have to be frightening. It can be gentle, graceful, like the slow painting of dawn and dusk. As you lie in bed, thinking of these colors, let them remind you that change can bring peace, that endings can be beautiful beginnings, that transitions can be soft. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this, a sunset over calm water. The horizon glows with crimson and gold. The air is still, warm and gentle. Slowly, the sky darkens into violet, then into deep blue. One by one, stars begin to appear, like tiny candles in the night. You feel your breath slowing, your body growing heavier. The sky is changing, but each color brings you deeper into calm. So when you next look at the sky at dawn, at dusk, or in the quiet of night, remember that you are looking at more than just air and light. You are looking at a painting older than humanity, a canvas constantly renewed. And within those colors lies a truth that helps us sleep. The universe moves at its own pace, softly, patiently, beautifully. You need only to watch, to breathe, and to let yourself rest beneath its palette. There are sounds in nature that seem to reach straight into the nervous system, calming it without effort. Among these, none is as universally soothing as the sound of rain. Raindrops do not shout. They do not demand. They arrive quietly, tapping on rooftops, pattering on leaves, trickling down windows. Their rhythm is gentle, their music ancient. Tonight, let us listen closely to rain, not with ears alone, but with imagination, as though every drop were a lullaby written for sleep. Rain begins high above, where clouds grow heavy with moisture. At first, the sky holds its silence, keeping the water suspended. Then, when the air can carry no more, gravity takes over, and drops begin to fall. Each one is small, yet together they create a chorus. On a tin roof, the drops are sharp, like tiny drums. On a forest canopy, they are muffled, softened by leaves. On glass, they become a delicate percussion, like fingertips tapping in rhythm. And when rain falls on soil, it releases an earthy fragrance petrichor that turns sound into memory, making us feel both grounded and renewed. Imagine lying in bed while outside a storm passes softly. The rain hits your window in steady waves, never chaotic, always balanced. You don't need to count the drops. Your body does it for you. Studies show that rhythmic sounds like rainfall can lower the heart rate, slow breathing, and prepare the brain for sleep. This is why recordings of rain are some of the most popular soundtracks for relaxation. They remind us of safety, of shelter, of the comforting knowledge that while the world outside is wet and wild, inside we are warm and dry. Rain also changes with intensity. A drizzle is like a whisper, almost a secret shared with those who pause to notice. It barely disturbs the ground, creating small ripples in puddles, like circles of thought spreading outward. A steady shower, on the other hand, is like a metronome, reliable, measured, soothing in its predictability. And then there is heavy rain, a downpour that drowns out everything else. For some, the roar of such rain is overwhelming. For others, it is the ultimate lullaby, a blanket of sound so thick that it silences inner chatter. There is magic in variation too. Sometimes, rain pauses for just a moment, creating silence that feels deeper because of the contrast. Then it begins again, a little lighter or a little stronger, reminding us that the sky is a musician who knows how to play with dynamics. Each storm is a composition, no two quite alike. To listen is to surrender, to let the weather decide the tempo of the evening. Raindrops are not only heard, they are seen and felt. Watch them on a window pane, and you see patterns form. Small rivulets merging, drops racing one another downward, streaks reflecting the lights of the room inside. Children often place bets on which drop will reach the bottom first, turning weather into a quiet game. Adults may simply stare, hypnotized by the way randomness creates beauty. This act of watching is almost meditative. No need to think, no need to analyze, just follow the path of falling water until thought dissolves. On leaves, raindrops cling and glisten, tiny jewels reflecting the world upside down. Each drop is a lens, showing us a miniature universe. And when the sun peeks through after rain, those drops can scatter light into rainbows. In this way, raindrops are not only sound, but also light, silent prisms that turn storms into spectacles. Rain has been a companion to humanity for as long as stories have been told. Poets write of it endlessly, using it as a symbol of sadness, renewal, cleansing, or rebirth. Yet beyond metaphor, the sound of rain is simply practical comfort. In ancient times, people listened to rain on the thatch of huts, on canvas tents, on the earth outside caves. That sound, told them they were safe, sheltered from the elements. It is no wonder the human brain still relaxes when hearing it. The association is older than civilization itself. Science supports this too. Rainfall produces a kind of white noise, a steady sound across many frequencies. White noise masks other noises, covering up sudden disruptions that might disturb rest. This is why people who struggle to sleep often play rain recordings. The drops become guardians, standing watch so that the mind does not startle awake at every creak or sigh of the house. There are also seasonal differences. Spring rain often feels hopeful, gentle showers, nourishing new growth. Summer rain is warm, almost playful, arriving after hot days to cool the air. Autumn rain is reflective, often paired with falling leaves and shorter days. Winter rain can be harsher, sometimes icy, but even then, its sound against the window can make the warmth of a blanket feel even sweeter. Each season brings its own music, but the rhythm of water is always present. Now, close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You are in a small cabin deep in the forest. Outside, rain falls steadily, pattering on the roof, dripping from branches, pooling softly in the moss. Inside, there is only stillness. A candle flickers. You hear the rain, but you also hear the silence between the drops, the soft pauses that make the music breathe. With each passing minute, your body sinks deeper into relaxation, following the rhythm downward into rest. Or perhaps picture yourself in a city apartment. Rain streaks the glass, blurring the neon lights outside into soft watercolor smudges. The sound is distant but constant, like a heartbeat echoing through the walls. You sip something warm, listen to the rain, and feel the busy noise of the city dissolve into calm. Rain is democratic. It comforts equally, whether falling on forest leaves or concrete streets. Even myths have honored rain. In many cultures, rain was seen as a blessing from the gods, a sign of fertility and abundance. In desert societies, its arrival was celebrated with dances and rituals. Rain, unpredictable and powerful, meant life itself. To listen to it even now is to connect with those ancient rhythms, to hear what our ancestors heard, and to feel what they felt: gratitude, reverence, and peace. So let rain be your lullaby tonight. Imagine each drop as a note in a symphony, played by clouds, conducted by the wind, and performed on the instruments of rooftops, leaves, and earth. Let the rhythm wash over you, cleansing not your body, but your mind of worry and distraction. Just as rain nourishes soil, its sound can nourish rest. And when the storm fades, leaving only dripping branches and quiet puddles, let that silence remind you. Storms always end. Anxiety, like rain, comes and goes. What remains is renewal, freshness, the promise of clear skies. With this thought, sleep can arrive easily, softly, like the final drop sliding from a leaf into the soil below. Before raindrops fall, before storms arrive, there are clouds. They are the sky's storytellers, drifting across the heavens in shapes that change moment by moment. Some are bright and soft, others dark and heavy. Some move quickly, pushed by invisible winds, while others linger, painting the sky in stillness. To watch clouds is to listen to a slow language, one spoken without words, but with shapes, colors, and light. Clouds are born from breath. Not our breath, but the planet's. Warm air rises from oceans, rivers, forests, and deserts, carrying moisture upward. As the air cools, the moisture condenses into tiny droplets, so tiny that each is lighter than dust. Together, billions of these droplets form clouds, suspended like dreams above the world. Though each droplet is fleeting, together they create structures vast enough to cover continents. To lie back and watch clouds drift is one of life's simplest pleasures. Children see shapes in them, castles, animals, faces, while adults often see only weather. Yet both are true. Clouds are practical. They signal whether rain is coming, whether storms are near. But they are also imaginative. They invite us to project our thoughts upward, to see not only vapor, but story. This dual nature is what makes them timeless companions to dreamers. There are many kinds of clouds, each with its own character. Wispy cirrus clouds stretch high above, thin as brushstrokes across a blue canvas. They signal fair weather but also remind us of altitude, of layers of air so distant they touch space. Cumulus clouds are friendlier, white, puffy, like mountains of cotton. They gather on summer afternoons, rising tall and proud, their tops glowing bright, while their bases hover in shadow. Stratus clouds, by contrast, are understated. They spread in sheets across the sky, dulling sunlight, creating days that feel quiet, introspective, almost drowsy. And then there are storm clouds, the cumulonimbus towers that climb miles into the atmosphere. They are the sky's giants, dramatic and theatrical. Their edges curl like smoke, their undersides rumble with thunder. Yet even these can be beautiful, glowing orange at sunset, their vast forms turning the horizon into a painting of fire. To watch them is to witness power, but also artistry, the sky sculpting itself in motion. Clouds are also storytellers of time. Morning clouds are often gentle, touched by pink and gold as the sun rises. Midday clouds are sharper, whiter, more insistent against a blue background. Evening clouds are tender, painted in pastels, dissolving into twilight. At night, clouds become silhouettes, drifting silently across the stars. In this way, clouds accompany us through the rhythm of the day, like background music that changes with each act of life's play. They are also mirrors of mood. A sky filled with bright cumulus feels playful and energetic, perfect for picnics and laughter. A grey ceiling of stratus invites reflection, perhaps melancholy, but also calm. A fiery sunset reflected in scattered clouds can feel like hope or farewell, depending on the viewer's heart. The clouds do not change themselves. We change in how we read them. This makes them not just weather, but poetry. Science explains clouds with precision condensation nuclei, water vapor, air pressure. Yet the experience of clouds is not only scientific, they belong to memory as much as meteorology. Think of the times you lay in a field, watching them drift. Think of a childhood afternoon when you stared upward, imagining dragons or ships in the sky. Think of days when clouds matched your feelings exactly, as though the sky itself understood. These moments make clouds intimate companions, even though they never stay the same. Clouds also connect us across the world. The same formations that drift above you drift above others thousands of miles away. Storm systems circle the globe, carrying rain from one continent to another. In this way, clouds remind us of connection, that the sky is shared, that weather belongs to no nation, no border. A cloud seen in one place may travel, changing, but continuous, linking distant lives under one atmosphere. Even myths have honored clouds. In Greek mythology, the goddess Nephele was formed from a cloud. In Hindu tradition, clouds were vehicles of divine beings, carrying messages and rain. In Japan, Shinto poets wrote of kumo, clouds that both obscured and revealed sacred mountains. In each case, clouds were more than weather. They were thresholds between heaven and earth, between the known and the mysterious. To fall asleep thinking of clouds is to invite softness. Imagine yourself lying in a meadow, watching white towers drift lazily. Imagine being lifted by them, carried upward into cool, quiet air. Each cloud passes slowly, dissolving into another, never rushed. This rhythm can calm the restless mind, reminding it that life too is made of passing forms. Worries are like clouds. They gather, they darken, they drift, but always they dissolve. Now, picture this. You are in a quiet airplane, soaring above storm clouds. Beneath you, the clouds churn, grey and heavy, lightning flickering within. But above, the sky is clear, blue, infinite. The tops of the clouds glow like snowy mountains, silent and grand. From this perspective, even the most violent storm looks peaceful. This is the gift of clouds. They show us that beauty exists even in turbulence, if only we rise above it. Or imagine a still night, the moon hidden behind thin clouds. The light filters through, softened, glowing like lanterns behind curtains. The stars peek out where the veil thins. The sky becomes intimate, not distant, a ceiling of drifting light. To sleep under such a sky is to feel held, sheltered, lulled by the planet's own breath. Clouds, in their impermanence, also teach acceptance. We cannot grasp them, cannot hold them. They appear, change, and vanish, beyond our control. And yet, they return, endlessly. This cycle mirrors our own experiences. Moments come, moments pass, yet life continues. Clouds show us that impermanence is not loss but rhythm. To breathe, to live, to sleep, is to join that rhythm. So tonight, as you prepare for rest, let clouds drift through your mind. Picture their softness, their shapes, their endless motion. Let them carry your thoughts upward, away from the day's burdens. Imagine each worry dissolving, thinning, vanishing, like vapor in sunlight. You are left with sky, vast and open, ready to cradle you in peace. Clouds do not cling, and neither must we. They remind us that release is natural, that rest is part of the cycle. So close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let the clouds be your gentle storytellers. Their tales are simple. All things pass, all storms end, and beauty is always returning in new shapes. There is a silence in snowfall unlike any other. When snow drifts down from the sky, the world changes, sounds soften, light scatters. Time itself seems to pause. To witness snowfall is to enter a slower rhythm, one where every flake is both ordinary and miraculous. Each is a crystal, formed high in the clouds, delicate and unique, tumbling gently toward the earth. Together, they create a blanket that transforms landscapes into dreamscapes. Snow begins with a whisper. In cold clouds, water vapor clings to tiny dust particles, freezing into ice. Around that speck, intricate arms grow, branching outward into symmetrical patterns. Each snowflake is a record of the path it has taken through humid air, through dry air, through shifting temperatures. That is why no two are exactly the same. Each is a frozen story, written in geometry too small to see without magnification. Yet when billions fall together, they weave a visible story across the land. Think of the first moment snow begins to fall. The air is still. The sky turns heavy, grey, full of promise. Then, slowly, the flakes appear tiny at first, then more, then many. They swirl in eddies of air, moving like dancers in a silent ballet. Some fall straight, others twirl, as though pausing mid-air before settling. It is a performance without music, yet it lulls us, calming the senses. Children know the joy of snow. They rush outside to catch flakes on their tongues, to press them into balls, to build figures from the white. But adults, too, feel the enchantment. Snow covers imperfections, the cracks in the road, the clutter in the yard, the scars of the land. Everything becomes smooth, clean, shining in quiet light. It is as though the world has been given a fresh page, an invitation to begin again. At night, snowfall feels even more magical. Street lamps glow halos of light around the flakes. Each one flashes briefly as it passes through the circle, then vanishes into the drift below. The world grows muffled. Footsteps sink softly. Voices hush themselves. If you pause and listen, you may hear only the faintest hiss of snow touching earth. The night becomes intimate, as though the sky has wrapped the world in a blanket of its own making. Snow also transforms sound. Scientists have measured how snow absorbs noise, its fluffy crystals trapping sound waves. This is why snowy nights feel so silent, why even busy cities seem hushed when covered in fresh snow. It is not only the absence of activity, it is the snow itself, listening, softening, holding sound. To sleep on such a night is to rest in quiet deeper than usual, to be cradled by the silence of nature itself. In the morning, the transformation is complete. Fields stretch white and unbroken. Trees wear crowns of frost, their branches outlined in lace. Roofs glisten with icy frosting. The world is unfamiliar, yet more beautiful for it. Even the cold, often sharp and biting, feels softened when seen through the light of snow. Winter landscapes painted in white invite not only endurance but admiration. Cultures around the world have celebrated snow in stories and traditions. In Japan, haiku poets write of the hush of falling flakes, seeing in them metaphors for impermanence and beauty. In Norse mythology, the frost giant Ymir embodied the cold from which the world emerged. In Russia, fairy tales tell of the Snow Maiden, a figure both fragile and powerful, born of winter. And in Western traditions, snow often carries symbols of purity, renewal, and quiet grace. Everywhere, snow has been more than weather, it has been a source of wonder. Snow also inspires science. Mathematicians study its fractal patterns, marveling at how complexity arises from simplicity. Meteorologists track its storms, predicting where it will fall and how deeply it will cover the land. Even astronauts have spoken of watching snow systems from orbit, vast spirals of white swirling over continents, looking like delicate art etched across the globe. To them, Earth itself seems clothed in winter's attire, a planet transformed by crystalline breath. For those who live with snow, it brings rhythm to life. Roads are cleared, fires are lit, gatherings move indoors. There is hardship, yes, shoveling, shivering, the struggle of keeping warm. But there is also coziness. Families draw closer around tables. Stories are shared beside fires. Books are read while windows frost. Snow outside makes warmth inside more precious. It is contrast that creates comfort. And yet, snow is not only about stillness, it also brings change. Snowmelt feeds rivers, nourishes soils, and sustains ecosystems far into spring and summer. Mountains capped with snow act as reservoirs, holding water until warmth releases it. Farmers, wildlife, and entire cities depend on this rhythm. The calm of snowfall today is the promise of life tomorrow. There is a meditative quality to watching snow. Each flake is small, yet together they can cover mountains. Each falls silently, yet together they reshape landscapes. This is a lesson, perhaps, about patience and persistence. Small actions, repeated many times, can create transformation. Just as snow turns valleys white, our small choices shape the patterns of our lives. Imagine now lying in bed as snow falls outside. The world is quiet. The air is cool, crisp. Through the window, flakes drift past the glass, glowing softly in the light. You are warm beneath blankets, cocooned in comfort. Outside, nature writes its story in white. Inside, you are safe, listening to the hush. This is the calm of snowfall, a reminder that rest is natural, that peace can be simple, that beauty can arrive without noise or effort. And as you close your eyes, let yourself drift with the snowflakes. Each one takes its time, each one follows its own path, but all settle gently in the end. So too will your thoughts, your worries, your breath. They will drift, they will soften, they will rest. The snowfall teaches you release, surrender, and trust in the stillness, for in stillness there is peace. Rain has always been more than water. It is rhythm, memory, comfort. It falls on rooftops and rivers, on deserts and jungles, on cities and villages alike. It has no borders, no nationality. Wherever it arrives, it carries with it the same soothing song, the gentle percussion of droplets returning from sky to earth. To listen to rain is to hear the planet speaking in music older than any language. Rain begins invisibly, as vapor lifted by sunlight. Oceans breathe upward, lakes exhale, forests release their hidden moisture. Warm air rises, cools, and condenses. Tiny droplets gather, merging in clouds until they are heavy enough to fall. And when they fall with grace, pulled by gravity yet cushioned by air. Each droplet is small, but together they cover landscapes, turning dust to mud, filling streams, painting the world in movement. There is a magic in the sound of rain. On tin roofs, it is sharp, playful, like a drumbeat, performed by countless tiny hands. On leaves, it is softer, a rustle and patter that makes the forest hum. On windows, it is steady, hypnotic, the kind of rhythm that lulls the mind into rest. Rain does not need melody. Its music lies in its constancy. Each droplet is a note, and together they form a symphony of calm. For many people, rain is tied to memory. Think of nights spent inside, wrapped in blankets, listening to rain against the glass. Think of childhood afternoons, running through puddles, shoes splashing with delight. Think of summer storms, sudden and fierce, turning hot streets into rivers. Rain is both companion and backdrop, shaping the moods of our days and the texture of our memories. Cultures have honored rain with reverence. In ancient Mesopotamia, the god Adad was worshipped as the bringer of storms, vital for crops. In Hinduism, the god Indra ruled the rains, wielding lightning as a weapon and water as a blessing. Native American traditions included rain dances, rituals to call forth the sky's bounty. Even today, farmers look upward with hope, waiting for rain to quench their fields. In every culture, rain is more than weather. It is promise, sustenance, renewal. Rain also reshapes the world in subtle ways. It erodes mountains, carving valleys over centuries. It nourishes soil, coaxing seeds into growth. It fills reservoirs, quenches thirst, sustains ecosystems. A single storm can change landscapes, and repeated rains over millennia can sculpt entire continents. To watch rainfall is to watch time itself at work, drop by drop, patient and persistent. Yet rain is not only about power, it is also about intimacy. Imagine lying in bed, the lights dimmed, as rain taps the roof above. Each sound is gentle, irregular yet rhythmic. Outside, the world is washed clean. Inside, you are safe and dry. The contrast creates comfort. Rain may be cold outside, but its sound brings warmth within. It is as if the planet itself is singing you to sleep. There is also variety in rain's music. A drizzle is delicate, like whispers against leaves. A shower is more insistent, playful in its energy. A downpour is overwhelming, a chorus of droplets rushing in unison. Thunderstorms add their own instruments, deep rumbles, sudden flashes, dramatic crescendos. But even in their loudest moments, storms remind us of scale, that nature is vast, and we are small, yet held within it. Science, too, sees beauty in rain. Meteorologists study droplet formation, the shapes they take as they fall. Some are round, some elongated, depending on wind and pressure. Physicists calculate how raindrops fall at terminal velocity, fast but not crushing. Chemists analyze rainwater, finding minerals, salts, even traces of life carried in the air. Every droplet is not only sound and feeling, but a capsule of science, a tiny laboratory descending from the sky. And then there is the scent. Rain carries its own perfume, known as petrica, the earthy fragrance released when raindrops hit dry soil. Scientists discovered that oils secreted by plants combine with soil bacteria to create this aroma. When rain disturbs the ground, it releases that scent into the air. It is why the first rainfall after a dry spell feels so intoxicating, so full of memory. The smell of rain is, quite literally, the smell of life rekindled. Rain also nurtures imagination. Poets write of it as cleansing, as sorrow, as renewal. Musicians capture its rhythm in lullabies and symphonies. Filmmakers use it to heighten emotion, a backdrop for farewells, reunions, revelations. For some, rain feels melancholic. For others, it feels soothing. The truth is that rain is both. It carries sadness and comfort, endings and beginnings. It mirrors us, reflecting whatever we bring to it. Imagine now sitting by a window, rain falling beyond the glass. Drops trace slow paths downward, merging, racing each other to the sill. Outside, streets shine, trees drip. The world glistens as though freshly painted. Inside, the sound fills the air, steady, reassuring. You breathe more slowly, your thoughts loosen, your body relaxes. Rain has no hurry, and it teaches you the same. In some traditions, rain is seen as a bridge between earth and sky. Falling from clouds, it connects the heavens with the ground, nourishing life along the way. To sleep while rain falls is to rest under that bridge, to feel connected to something greater. The drops that fall on your roof may have once floated over oceans, over mountains, over distant lands. Rain reminds us that water travels, uniting the globe in its endless cycle. So tonight, as you prepare for sleep, let rain be your companion. Imagine its music surrounding you, steady and soothing. Each droplet is a note, each shower a song, each storm a symphony. Let it wash away the noise of the day, leaving only calm. Let it remind you that life, like rain, moves in cycles, sometimes heavy, sometimes light, but always flowing, always renewing. The music of rain is timeless. It played for our ancestors, it plays for us, and it will play for generations to come. To listen is to join a chorus older than humanity itself. And in that chorus, you find rest. Not all weather is gentle. Some is fierce, dramatic, filled with light and sound that shake the sky itself. Thunder and lightning are among nature's most powerful performances yet. For many, they are also deeply soothing. From a safe distance, a storm becomes not a threat, but a lullaby. Flashes painting the horizon, rumbles rolling through the air, rain tapping like steady drums. In the theater of the heavens, thunder and lightning are both terrifying and comforting, primal and poetic. Lightning begins as a whisper of imbalance. Inside towering clouds, droplets and ice crystals swirl in constant motion, colliding, trading charges of electricity. Slowly, the cloud becomes polarized. Positive charges gather at the top, negative charges sink to the bottom. The tension grows until it cannot be contained. Then, in an instant, the imbalance is released. A jagged bolt slices through the air, connecting sky to ground, or cloud to cloud, unleashing more energy than entire cities use in an instant. The sight is breathtaking. Lightning illuminates the world in stark flashes, turning night into day for a heartbeat. Trees, hills, rooftops, all glow as though carved from silver. Even with eyes closed, lightning is felt. The flash penetrates the lids, a pulse of brightness against the darkness of rest. It is sudden, yet not unwelcome, for just as quickly as it comes, it fades, leaving only memory and anticipation of the next. Then comes the thunder. Sound travels slower than light, and so the rumble lags behind the flash. A child might count the seconds, learning to guess the distance of the storm. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Closer storms boom quickly, distant ones roll like drums across valleys. Thunder is air itself, expanding explosively as lightning superheats its path. What begins as violence becomes vibration, spreading outward, gentling as it travels. By the time it reaches your window, it is less roar than murmur, less warning than lullaby. There is something deeply primal in our response to thunder and lightning. Our ancestors, long before science, saw storms as the voices of gods. Zeus hurled bolts from Olympus. Thor wielded Mjolnir, hammer of thunder. Indigenous cultures across the world told stories of sky spirits, storm birds, and divine drums. To them, lightning was not only light, it was presence, power, judgment. Today, we explain the physics, but the awe remains unchanged. A storm still stirs the same reverence, the same sense of standing in the presence of something vast and beyond control. Yet storms are not only frightening. From safety, they are strangely comforting. To lie in bed while rain falls, lightning flashes, and thunder rolls is to feel protected inside while the world outside shakes. The storm becomes a lullaby of contrast, chaos beyond, calm within. Each flash and rumble is a reminder of shelter, of the walls and roof that cradle you. Fear dissolves into gratitude, and gratitude into rest. Think of the rhythm of a storm. Lightning flashes irregularly, surprising the eye. Thunder follows with deep, rolling tones. Rain provides the steady background, a constant percussion. Together, they form a kind of music, one without melody, yet with structure, drama, and calm. No composer could replicate it, yet every listener recognizes its power. For some, storm sounds are the most relaxing of all, used in recordings to lull restless minds into sleep. Science, too, finds beauty here. Lightning helps sustain life by fixing nitrogen in the atmosphere. The intense heat splits nitrogen molecules, allowing them to combine with oxygen and fall to the ground in rain. Plants use this nitrogen, and animals eat the plants. In this way, lightning is part of the cycle of nourishment. A flash in the sky becomes food on our tables, linking storms to survival. Thunder and lightning are not only spectacle, they are participants in life itself. There is also an intimacy to storms. When power flickers and lights go out, families gather by candles. Conversations deepen, stories are told, songs are sung. Thunder outside makes human voices softer, more tender, as though to balance the power. Lightning outside makes candlelight warmer, more cherished. A storm, in disrupting routine, restores connection. It brings us back to the basics: shelter, warmth, companionship. For those who live in open landscapes, plains, deserts, coastlines, storms take on even greater grandeur. Lightning bolts fork across the horizon, stretching for miles. Thunder rolls without obstruction, echoing across vast spaces. Watching such a storm is to feel the scale of the planet, to see energy in raw form. And yet, even there, the experience can be soothing. The vastness of the storm reminds us of our smallness, and in smallness there is release. From a child's eyes, storms can be fearful, yet many parents teach children to see them as stories. The angels are bowling, some say, explaining thunder. The sky is taking pictures, others say of lightning. These gentle metaphors turn fear into play, transforming power into comfort. Perhaps that is what storms have always done for humanity, forced us to find meaning, to turn fear into narrative, to transform the unknown into something we can hold. Imagine now lying in bed, listening to a storm outside. The room is dim, shadows flickering with each flash. Rain taps the glass, steady as a heartbeat. A rumble rolls across the sky, deep and soothing, like a drumbeat in the distance. You are safe, warm, listening not to danger, but to music. The storm becomes a blanket of sound, wrapping you in a cocoon of rhythm and light. Even when storms are fierce, they end. Clouds drift on, lightning fades, thunder quiets. The air smells fresh, cleansed by rain and ozone. Silence returns, but it is a deeper silence, enriched by the memory of sound. Rest after a storm is the sweetest rest because contrast makes calm more precious. So tonight, let thunder and lightning be not symbols of fear but of balance. Light and dark, noise and silence, chaos and calm, they are pairs that shape life. Storms remind us that even the fiercest moments pass, leaving renewal in their wake. Lightning writes brief poems of light across the sky. Thunder reads them aloud in low, rolling tones, and together they sing you to sleep. Before storms arrive, before raindrops fall, before snowflakes drift, there is the wind. It is the unseen traveler, moving across mountains, seas, forests, and deserts, carrying with it whispers of change. We cannot see it, but we can feel it. On our skin, in the sway of trees, in the flutter of curtains. The wind is the voice of the atmosphere, a constant reminder that the air around us is alive, restless, and filled with stories. Wind begins with warmth. The sun heats the earth. Unevenly oceans absorb more. Deserts radiate faster. Mountains shade valleys. Warm air rises, cool air sinks, and pressure shifts across continents. These differences create movement, invisible rivers of air that flow from high to low, from warm to cool. What we call wind is really the atmosphere balancing itself, endlessly redistributing heat, endlessly breathing. To stand in the wind is to feel connection. A breeze on your cheek began perhaps as air over the ocean, lifted by tropical heat, carried for miles before brushing your skin. In this way, wind makes us participants in a global dance. The air you breathe has traveled, mingled, transformed. Every gust is a message from far away, reminding us that the world is connected by currents unseen. Wind has many moods. A gentle breeze barely stirs the leaves, like a soft whisper reminding you of stillness. A stronger gust lifts kites into the sky, makes flags ripple, and sends waves dancing across lakes. Gales roar, bending trees and filling sails, powerful enough to reshape coastlines and carve mountains over time. And then there are tempests, hurricanes, typhoons, cyclones, winds, so strong they become forces of transformation, altering landscapes and lives. Yet even in their fury, they are part of the Earth's balance, redistributing heat and moisture, shaping climate across centuries. Culturally, wind has always been a symbol. To the Greeks, Boreas was the cold north wind, fierce and relentless. To sailors, winds were both friend and foe, guiding journeys or wrecking ships. In Chinese philosophy, wind is one of the 5 elements associated with movement, life, and impermanence. In poetry, wind is freedom, unseen yet felt, unstoppable, wandering wherever it pleases. It is both wild and intimate, a presence that cannot be held yet always surrounds us. Think of the sound of wind. Through trees it becomes a rustle, a sigh, a chorus of leaves swaying in rhythm. Across plains it howls, low and unbroken, like the call of the earth itself. Around buildings it whistles and hums, creating music from corners and edges. On mountains it roars, a reminder of altitude and exposure. Each sound tells a different story, each gust a different tone. To close your eyes and listen to the wind is to hear the earth's own lullaby. There is comfort in lying still while wind moves outside. Curtains sway gently, branches dance against the window. The air carries scents of soil, flowers, or rain. Wind is both messenger and companion, bringing change yet never staying. Its impermanence is part of its charm. You cannot grasp wind, cannot keep it, but you can let it move through you, carrying restlessness away. Science gives us details. Wind speed is measured by anemometers, its direction by weather vanes. Meteorologists map its global patterns, the trade winds that once carried explorers across oceans, the jet streams that guide storms, the monsoons that bring seasonal rain. Wind is energy too. Wind turbines capture its invisible force, spinning blades that generate power to light homes and cities. What once was only symbol has become sustenance. Yet even with science, wind retains mystery. Where does a breeze begin, and where does it end? How many paths does it travel before reaching you? Ancient traditions believed wind carried souls, prayers, and whispers of the divine. Even today, when wind brushes past, it can feel like a touch from something beyond ourselves. Wind also stirs memory. The smell of salt on a coastal breeze recalls childhood summers by the sea. The warm gust before a storm carries the thrill of anticipation. The crisp autumn wind reminds us of falling leaves, harvests, and endings. The chill of winter wind sharpens our awareness, urging us to seek shelter, warmth, companionship. Each season has its wind, each memory tied to its feel. Imagine now lying beneath trees on a summer day. The branches sway, the leaves rustle, and the breeze passes across your skin. It is cool, gentle, reassuring. The wind carries birdsong, distant laughter, and the faint fragrance of flowers. You close your eyes, and it feels as though the world is breathing with you, in and out, slow and steady. Or picture yourself standing by the ocean. The wind is stronger here, filled with salt and spray. Waves crash, gulls wheel, the horizon stretches endlessly. The wind pushes against you, not unkindly but insistently, reminding you of the vastness around you. It fills your lungs, clears your mind, makes you feel small, yet alive. To stand in the ocean wind is to stand in the rhythm of the planet itself. Wind teaches lessons too. It shows us that not all change is visible. Even when the air seems still, currents move above us, guiding clouds, shaping climates. It reminds us that strength can be invisible, yet powerful, that presence does not require form. It whispers that freedom is movement, that rest can exist, even in motion. As night falls, wind changes character. Daytime breezes often still, replaced by cool nocturnal currents. Through an open window, the wind enters gently, brushing against your face, carrying the scent of earth, cooling after Sunday. It is a lullaby not sung, but felt. You breathe with it, match its rhythm, and slowly drift into rest. So tonight, let wind be your companion. Imagine it surrounding you, not as force, but as whisper. Each gust carries your worries away, scattering them like leaves. Each breeze wraps you in presence, unseen but tender. Let it remind you that you are part of a world that moves, that breathes, that rests. The whisper of wind is eternal. It brushed the faces of ancient wanderers, filled the sails of explorers, whispered through the dreams of poets. It brushes your face tonight as you drift towards sleep. Invisible, but never absent. Silent, but always speaking. And in its whisper, there is comfort. There is a softness in fog and mist that no other weather quite matches. They are not storms, nor rains, nor winds, but veils thin layers of cloud that descend to earth and embrace the landscape. Where they appear, the world becomes dreamlike, muted, blurred at the edges. Trees lose their outlines, streets fade into silence, mountains dissolve into pale silhouettes. To walk through fog is to walk through mystery, a reminder that not everything must be seen clearly to be beautiful. Fog is born of stillness. When the air cools and can no longer hold its moisture, water condenses into tiny droplets suspended close to the ground. Unlike clouds high above, fog lives at our level, surrounding us, transforming familiar places into unfamiliar ones. A field, ordinary by day, becomes otherworldly under fog. A lake seems infinite, its far shore erased. A city street feels quieter, its lights haloed in silver. The veil is thin, yet its effect is profound. Mist is its gentler sibling. While fog obscures, mist reveals in fragments. It forms along rivers in early morning, drifting in low sheets above the water. It lingers in valleys as the sun rises, glowing softly in golden light. Mist is delicate, fleeting, often gone as soon as the day warms. Yet its brevity is part of its beauty. To see mist at dawn is to be reminded that some gifts are meant to be temporary, glimpsed only by those who wake early or linger long. There is silence in fog. Sounds, like sights, are muted. A dog's bark carries strangely, stretched and distant. Footsteps are softened, as if cushioned by the air itself. Even voices seem quieter, as though people instinctively lower their tones. This quiet is not emptiness, but intimacy, a closeness between self and world. Fog creates privacy in public places, wrapping each person in their own small cocoon of mist. Culturally, fog and mist have always symbolized mystery. In literature, they veil secrets, hide truths, blur the line between real and imagined. Sherlock Holmes' stories often begin with fog rolling through London streets, setting the stage for intrigue. In Japanese poetry, mist is associated with subtle beauty, with the unseen and the unspoken. In Chinese landscape paintings, mountains rise from seas of mist, emphasizing both grandeur and humility. In every tradition, fog and mist are thresholds between clarity and obscurity, between waking and dreaming. Science explains them simply: condensation of water vapor near the ground. But even scientists admit their enchantment. Meteorologists study fog's density. Pilots adjust to its visibility. Sailors watch for it on seas. Yet, beyond practicality, fog is poetic. It hides, but it also reveals. By obscuring the unnecessary, it sharpens focus on what is near. A lantern's glow, a hand's warmth, the path immediately underfoot. Fog teaches us presence, reminding us that seeing far ahead is not always necessary. Imagine standing in a forest as fog weaves through the trees. The trunks stretch upward, fading into whiteness. Leaves drip with condensation. Every branch seems to hover in its own small world. You breathe in, and the air is cool, moist, carrying the faint scent of soil and pine. Each step feels hushed, sacred, as though the forest has turned into a temple. The fog is not frightening. It is gentle, protective, inviting you to move slowly and notice more. Or picture a mountain valley at dawn. Mist lies low, a silver sea covering the floor. As the sun rises, beams of light pierce through, illuminating patches of land like islands. Slowly, the mist lifts, unraveling, revealing the landscape beneath. The transition feels ceremonial, as though the world is being unveiled for a new day. To witness mist lifting is to witness renewal, a daily rebirth of clarity from obscurity. Fog also inspires memory. Travelers recall journeys where roads vanished into grey, where headlights pierced only a few feet ahead. Writers recall mornings, when gardens felt infinite, when familiar landmarks vanished into imagination. Lovers recall walks, where the world disappeared, leaving only two figures enveloped in mist. Fog creates intimacy by removing distractions, reminding us that presence is not about seeing everything, but about being with what is here. There is also wisdom in fog's impermanence. It arrives quietly, lingers, then vanishes as the sun warms the air. It teaches us that uncertainty is temporary, that clarity returns in time. When life feels unclear, fog is a metaphor. The path may be hidden, but it still exists. We need only trust our steps until the veil lifts. At night, Fog transforms light into halos. Street lamps glow in circles. Headlights scatter into beams. The moon itself becomes a soft orb. The world feels closer, smaller, cocooned. To fall asleep in such weather is to rest under a blanket, not of fabric, but of atmosphere, as if the sky itself has lowered to tuck you in. Even mist, lighter and briefer, carries lessons. Its fragility reminds us to cherish fleeting beauty. A morning mist may last only an hour, but in that hour it transforms the world. To miss it is no tragedy, but to notice it is a gift. Mist teaches mindfulness. Be here, look now, appreciate what vanishes quickly. So tonight, as you drift toward rest, let fog and mist be your companions. Imagine a veil descending, softening the edges of your thoughts, dimming the noise of the day. Picture worries fading like trees in fog, their outlines blurred, their sharpness softened. Picture your mind wrapped in mist, quiet, private, sheltered. Fog and mist do not ask for control. They arrive and depart as they will. But in their presence, we find peace. They remind us that clarity is not always needed, that mystery has its own beauty, that rest can be found even when the horizon is hidden. Sleep then, as though wrapped in fog. Let the veil settle gently, softening everything. Trust that the path exists, even if you cannot see it. For in the morning, the mist will lift, the sun will rise, and clarity will return. But for now, let the mystery hold you, and let the veils of the morning sky guide you into dreams. After the rain ends, when the clouds begin to part and the sun leans low on the horizon, something magical can appear, a rainbow. It is one of the simplest of nature's gifts, yet it never fails to inspire wonder. No matter how many times people see one, a rainbow feels like a blessing, unexpected, fleeting, luminous. It is both science and poetry, geometry and myth, a reminder that even after storms, beauty is waiting. A rainbow begins with light and water. Sunlight, which appears white, is actually made of many colors, each with its own wavelength. When light enters a raindrop, it slows and bends, refracted into its component hues. The light reflects off the back of the raindrop, bends again as it exits, and spreads into a spectrum. Millions of raindrops, each bending and reflecting in unison, create the great arc we see. Red stretches across the outer edge, violet rests on the inner curve, and between them shimmer all the shades of the visible spectrum. From a distance, a rainbow seems to have a fixed place, yet it is deeply personal. Each viewer sees a slightly different rainbow, shaped by their own position relative to the sun and the rain. No two perspectives are identical. In that sense, a rainbow is not only a shared wonder, but also an individual gift, unique to the eye that beholds it. There is also something soothing about its timing. Rainbows appear after storms, when tension dissolves into calm. They are reminders of cycles. Rain falls, skies clear, light returns. Just as night turns to day, just as winter turns to spring, storms give way to beauty. To see a rainbow is to witness renewal, the world whispering, "It will be all right." Cultures have always woven meaning into rainbows. In Greek mythology, they were the pathway of Iris, the messenger goddess, bridging heaven and earth. In Norse legend, the Bifrost was a rainbow bridge linking Midgard, the realm of humans, to Asgard, the realm of the gods. In many indigenous traditions, rainbows symbolize hope, promise, and connection between worlds. And in the modern age, they have become symbols of peace, unity, and diversity. Across time and place, the rainbow has never been just light. It has always been story. Science deepens the wonder rather than diminishing it. Double rainbows, for example, occur when light reflects twice inside the raindrop, creating a second, fainter arc with reversed colors. Supernumerary rainbows, delicate, Pastel fringes inside the main arc arise from the wave nature of light itself, overlapping and interfering. Even halos and glories, cousins of rainbows, remind us that light and water have endless ways of painting the sky. Every variation is another expression of nature's artistry. Rainbows are also fleeting, and that is part of their magic. They last only minutes, fading as the sun shifts or the rain ends. This brevity makes them precious. A rainbow cannot be stored, only remembered. It reminds us to pause, to look, to be present. You cannot schedule a rainbow. You can only witness it if you are paying attention. Imagine standing on a hill just after a storm. The grass is wet, the air cool and fresh. The sky still holds grey clouds, but the sun breaks through at an angle, casting golden light. Then, arching across the horizon, appears the rainbow. The land beneath seems brighter, almost blessed. You stand quietly, watching the colors shimmer, and for a moment, the world feels whole. Or picture a rainbow reflected in water, its arc doubled in the surface of a lake, glowing in symmetry. Birds fly across, their wings cutting briefly through its bands. The reflection ripples, reminding you that beauty need not be perfect to be real. Rainbows, like life, are fragile, always shifting, always dissolving, yet never less magnificent for their impermanence. Rainbows also connect us. Strangers stop and point, children gasp, adults smile. For a brief time, everyone under the same arc shares a moment of joy. It is a universal language, one that requires no translation. Rainbows belong to no one, yet they are cherished by all. They unite simply by existing, by reminding us that beauty is free and fleeting and shared. There is also a deeper symbolism. Rainbows remind us that light, when broken apart, reveals diversity. What seems simple and white is, in truth, made of many parts. Difference creates beauty. Without multiple colors, there would be no rainbow. This lesson, painted across the sky, is both natural and moral. Unity does not mean sameness, and diversity is not disorder, but harmony. At night, we cannot see rainbows, but we can remember them, and in memory, they become metaphors. After difficulty, something gentle awaits. After hardship, beauty returns. Just as the rainbow follows the storm, peace follows struggle, rest follows effort, calm follows chaos. To dream of rainbows is to dream of renewal, to trust that no storm lasts forever. So tonight, as you prepare for sleep, imagine a rainbow arching softly above you. Picture its colors red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, stretching in perfect harmony. Imagine standing beneath it, the air still damp with rain, the sun warm on your skin. Let its arc cradle you, let its colors soothe you. The storm has passed, the sky has cleared, and beauty has returned. Rainbows, like sleep, cannot be forced. They arrive when conditions are right, but when they do, they transform everything. To rest beneath a rainbow in your imagination is to rest in the promise of calm after turmoil. It is to let go of storms, to trust in light, to surrender to peace. After storms, after rainbows, after the shifting veils of cloud and mist, there comes a different kind of weather, no weather at all, a clear sky. It is absence turned into presence, simplicity transformed into beauty. To look up on such a day or night is to see openness stretching without end. There are no clouds to soften the horizon, no rain to blur the distance, only vastness blue by day, star-strewn by night. Clear skies remind us of space, of stillness, of the rare peace that comes not from movement, but from quiet clarity. A clear sky by day is a kind of canvas. Sunlight pours unobstructed, painting the world in sharper colors. Grass glows greener, Waters sparkle more brightly, shadows stretch more distinctly. The air feels lighter, as though the planet itself is taking a deep breath. Pilots say flying under clear skies is smooth, free of turbulence. Sailors know their voyages are easier when the heavens are calm. Hikers climb ridges for the joy of seeing unobstructed horizons. A clear sky is not dramatic, but it is liberating. By night, the beauty deepens. Without clouds, the stars shine in their full glory. Constellations reveal themselves, patterns drawn across the velvet dark. The Milky Way stretches as a pale ribbon, its billions of stars glowing faintly together. Planets gleam steadily, brighter than the stars, reminders of other worlds circling other suns. The moon, unobstructed, glows with sharp brilliance, casting silver shadows across fields and rooftops. To stand under such a sky is to feel both humbled and uplifted, small in scale, but large in wonder. Science explains why the sky looks blue in daylight. Sunlight, made of many colors, strikes the atmosphere. Shorter blue wavelengths scatter more easily than reds or yellows, filling our eyes with their hue. At sunrise and sunset, when sunlight passes through thicker layers of air, the blues scatter away, leaving oranges and pinks to glow. A clear sky, then, is not empty. It is full of light, filtered and painted by air itself. Every shade tells a story of physics, yet every shade feels like poetry. In many cultures, clear skies have been symbols of blessing. Farmers prayed for them during harvests. Sailors longed for them to guide their journeys. Lovers walked beneath them and found reassurance. In literature, a clear sky often represents hope, renewal, or divine favor. When clouds part and the sky reveals itself again, people see not only weather but metaphor, troubles passing, clarity returning, peace restored. Clear skies also shape memory. Think of summer afternoons lying in the grass, staring upward at an endless dome of blue. Think of nights at campfires, when stars seemed so many you could hardly count them. Think of quiet mornings when you stepped outside, the air cool and crisp, the sky sharp as crystal, and you felt ready to begin anew. These are not only moments of weather, they are moments of presence, of awareness heightened by simplicity. Yet the serenity of clear skies is not only external, they reflect something within us. A cluttered mind is like a cloudy day, full of distractions and noise. But sometimes, after rest or reflection, our minds clear, and thoughts settle like dust after a storm. In such moments, we glimpse mental blue skies, clarity, calm, focus. Just as weather shifts, so do we. A clear sky outside becomes a metaphor for clear skies inside. There is also humility in looking upward on a cloudless night. Ancient people had no telescopes, yet they mapped the heavens, guided by stars across deserts and oceans. Clear skies were their compass, their calendar, their storybook. Myths of hunters, maidens, animals, and gods were written in constellations, carried from generation to generation. Even today, a night under the stars connects us to them, reminding us that the same sky has always been here, steady, eternal, shared. Imagine now standing in a wide meadow on a summer evening. The sun has just set, and the first stars appear. The sky is clear, vast, endless. Crickets sing, fireflies dance, and above you, the heavens bloom with light. You feel no urgency, no weight, only wonder. The sky holds you, not as a ceiling, but as a window into infinity. To fall asleep under such a sky is to feel the vastness cradling you, reminding you that rest is part of the universe's rhythm. Or picture yourself waking early, stepping outside into a cool dawn. The sky is pale blue, unbroken by cloud. The air smells fresh, as though the world has been washed clean overnight. Birds sing their morning songs. You breathe deeply, filling your lungs with crisp air. The day feels open, full of promise, unmarked by storm or shadow. That openness mirrors your own beginnings, the possibility of the hours ahead, the chance to start anew. Clear skies also invite gratitude. We often notice storms, rain, snow, fog, the dramatic weather. But the absence of weather is equally a gift. A clear sky is easy to overlook, but when we pause, we realize its rarity. It is the earth at rest, the atmosphere quiet, the world in balance. To notice a clear sky is to notice calm, to appreciate peace not as emptiness, but as fullness, without distraction. For travelers, clear skies are companions. Pilgrims walking ancient roads, sailors crossing vast seas, astronauts gazing down from orbit, all carry the memory of unobstructed skies. Even jet pilots, breaking the atmosphere, often describe their most profound moments, not in turbulence, but in silence, gliding under clear blue. The sky becomes a partner, steady and open, allowing movement without hindrance. So tonight, as you prepare for sleep, imagine a clear sky above you. By day, it is a dome of blue, endless and calm. By night, it is a tapestry of stars, infinite and eternal. Let that vision settle into your thoughts. Let it remind you that clarity is possible, that storms pass, that peace can be simple. The serenity of clear skies is not loud, not dramatic. It is quiet, consistent, eternal. It asks for nothing, yet gives everything. To rest beneath such a sky is to rest in openness, to trust that the universe itself holds you gently. Sleep now under that vast expanse. Let the calm of clear skies mirror the calm within you. Clouds may return tomorrow, storms may come, but tonight the sky is yours, open, clear, and infinite. Weather does not arrive as isolated moments. It unfolds in cycles, woven into the larger rhythm of seasons. Each season carries its own palette of skies, its own music of wind and rain, its own moods of light and shadow. Together, they create the grand arc of a year, a rhythm as ancient as the earth itself, guiding animals, plants, and humans alike. To follow the seasons is to follow the pulse of the planet, a reminder that change is not disruption, but balance. Spring is the first awakening. After months of stillness and cold, the earth softens. Snow melts into rivers, rains return to fields, and the air fills with scents of renewal. The weather of spring is restless sunshine one moment, showers the next, breezes shifting from warm to cool. Clouds gather quickly, then part to reveal sudden light. This unpredictability carries energy, as if the planet itself is stretching after slumber. The gentle rain nourishes seedlings, the longer days invite birds to return, and every gust of wind feels like a reminder that life is beginning again. Summer arrives as fullness. Days lengthen, skies brighten, warmth deepens. The weather here is abundant. Thunderstorms rolling across plains, ocean breezes cooling coasts, sunlight pouring steadily over fields and forests. The air holds more moisture, creating dramatic displays of clouds and rainbows. Yet even in its intensity, summer carries calm. Long evenings stretch beneath glowing sunsets, warm nights hum with crickets, and rain on hot pavement releases the earthy fragrance of petrichor. For many, summer weather feels like freedom, windows open, doors unlatched, the world inviting us outward. Autumn comes as transformation. The heat wanes, the air sharpens, leaves turn into flames of red and gold. Weather in autumn is transitional cool mornings, wrapped in mist, afternoons warmed by gentle sun, evenings cooled by crisp breezes. Storms can arrive, sudden and dramatic, as if to remind us of the balance between abundance and rest. Rain falls softly on fallen leaves, creating a scent of earth and memory. Autumn weather carries nostalgia. It whispers of endings, but also of harvests, gatherings, and gratitude. Its beauty is tinged with impermanence, reminding us that all cycles must turn. Winter settles as rest. The air grows thin and cold, nights extend, and silence deepens. Snow drifts, covering landscapes in stillness. Frost patterns etch windows with delicate geometry. Winds sharpen, yet inside, warmth gathers. Winter weather is demanding blizzards howl, ice forms, rivers freeze. But it is also contemplative. Clear winter nights reveal skies sharper than at any other time, stars glittering like frost across the heavens. The chill outside makes the warmth inside sweeter. Winter teaches patience, endurance, and the value of pause. Together, these seasons form the circle of weather, endlessly repeating, endlessly renewing. Cultures across the world have shaped their lives around these cycles. Ancient farmers planted by spring rains, harvested under autumn skies, rested through winter storms. Festivals arose to mark solstices and equinoxes, the moments when light and dark balanced or tipped. Myths celebrated the return of spring, the power of summer sun, the fading beauty of autumn, the silence of winter. Weather was not background. It was the calendar itself, shaping time. Science deepens our understanding. Seasons result from the Earth's tilt, its axis leaning as it circles the Sunday. This tilt creates variation in light and warmth, shaping climates across latitudes. Near the equator, seasons are subtle, wet and dry, rather than hot and cold. Near the poles, they are dramatic months of light, followed by months of night. Everywhere, weather is tied to this rhythm, the planet's steady dance with its star. Yet beyond science, the experience of seasons is personal. Each of us carries memories tied to weather. The first warm breeze after winter, the sound of summer thunderstorms rolling across rooftops, the smell of autumn leaves after rain, the silence of snow falling at night. These are not just meteorological events, they are chapters in our lives, woven into memory, carrying comfort long after they pass. Seasons also teach acceptance. We cannot hold on to summer, cannot prevent winter from coming. The cycle moves regardless of our wishes, but within this inevitability lies reassurance. Just as storms pass, so too do difficult times. Just as winter ends, so too do hardships. The return of spring is a promise, as certain as dawn. Seasons remind us that change is not loss but renewal, that endings are also beginnings. Imagine now drifting through a year in your mind. In spring, you walk through meadows wet with rain, blossoms opening along branches, skies shifting from grey to blue. In summer, you rest beneath a warm sky, the air buzzing with life, evenings stretching endlessly. In autumn, you hear leaves crunch beneath your feet, mist rising from the earth, sunsets glowing amber. In winter, you sit by a window, snowflakes falling softly, silence cradling the night. Each season has its lullaby, its weather song, inviting you to rest in rhythm with the earth. As you lie back, think of your own seasons of life, times of growth, of fullness, of transition, of rest. Just as the weather cycles, so do we. There are times of energy, times of change, times of quiet. Each has its value. Each has its beauty. Weather reminds us that no state is permanent, and that balance lies in embracing the cycle rather than resisting it. So tonight, let the seasons guide your dreams. Picture spring rains nourishing fields. Picture summer skies filled with stars. Picture autumn winds rustling golden leaves. Picture winter snow settling in silence. Let these images carry you into rest, reassuring you that life moves in rhythm, that change is natural, that renewal always returns. The cycles of weather are the cycles of life. They are not interruptions, they are the pattern itself. And in recognizing this, we find peace. The ocean has its own weather. It breathes with tides, shifts with currents, and sings with waves. To stand by the shore is to feel the atmosphere and the sea in conversation, wind shaping water, water cooling air, clouds forming above vast blue horizons. The ocean's weather is more than storms. It is rhythm, balance, and calm. It is as constant as the beating of a heart, yet as varied as the moods of the sky. Waves are the ocean's language. They are born when winds sweep across the surface, transferring energy to water. A gentle breeze makes ripples, playful and light. Stronger winds create rolling waves that crash onto shores, steady and sure. Far out at sea, waves can travel for thousands of miles, carrying the memory of storms long past. To watch them is to watch messages written in motion, each crest rising, each trough sinking, each cycle repeating endlessly. The sound of waves is among the most soothing sounds on earth. The steady rhythm of surf resembles a breath, in as the wave approaches, out as it retreats. Psychologists say our bodies respond naturally, syncing heartbeats and breathing to its pattern. That is why so many sleep to recordings of waves, letting the ocean's rhythm carry them into slumber. To listen is to feel the planet itself breathing, slow and steady, reassuring us of continuity. Storms at sea show another side of weather. Winds whip waves into mountains, rain lashes decks, lightning splits horizons. Sailors for centuries have both feared and respected such storms. Yet from shore, even these tempests can inspire awe rather than fear. Watching lightning over the ocean, reflected in restless water, is like watching the sky and sea in duet. The power is vast, but so is the beauty. Calm seas, on the other hand, are moments of rare stillness. On certain mornings, oceans flatten into glass, reflecting skies so perfectly that horizon disappears. Boats drift quietly, gulls circle lazily, and water laps against rocks in whispers. Such days remind us that weather is not always drama. Sometimes it is silence, serenity stretched as far as the eye can see. To witness calm seas is to feel the world holding its breath, waiting in peace. The ocean's weather shapes life everywhere. Tropical storms, hurricanes, typhoons, cyclones begin over warm waters, gathering energy before moving toward land. Trade winds carried explorers across continents. Monsoon rains, born of sea-air interactions, sustain billions of lives across Asia and Africa. Even small breezes along coasts change temperatures, carrying relief on hot days. The sea is not only background, it is a driver of climates, a force that touches every corner of Earth. Cultures have always seen the ocean's weather as sacred. Ancient Polynesians navigated by watching stars, waves and winds, reading patterns invisible to outsiders. Norse myths spoke of sea gods who stirred storms. Japanese fishermen prayed to Ryujin, dragon of the sea, for safe passage. And poets everywhere have written of the ocean's moods, calm as peace, storm as fury, waves as eternal cycles of time. Science studies the sea with satellites, buoys, and ships. Meteorologists chart currents like the Gulf Stream, which carries warmth from the tropics to northern coasts. Climatologists watch El Niño and La Niña, patterns of warming and cooling that shift rain and drought across continents. Oceanographers measure tides, waves, and salinity, linking them to global weather systems. Yet even with knowledge, the ocean retains mystery. Its depths remain unexplored, its rhythms older than humanity. Memory ties us to the sea's weather too. Think of standing barefoot at the shore, waves washing over your feet, sand shifting gently beneath. Think of listening to the roar of surf at night, the moonlight turning crests silver. Think of boat rides where spray cooled your face, or mornings when calm water mirrored sky so perfectly it seemed you floated between two heavens. The ocean's weather is not only natural, it is personal, woven into lives and stories. Imagine yourself now by the coast at dusk. The waves come steadily, small and unhurried. Each one rises, curls and breaks, leaving foam that dissolves into the sand. The horizon glows faintly, clouds tinted with violet and rose. The air smells of salt and life. As you breathe, you feel yourself sink with the sea's rhythm, in, out, wave, retreat. Sleep feels near, carried on the ocean's steady pulse, or picture being far at sea, under a calm sky. The water is smooth, the stars reflected in it like twin heavens. The boat barely moves, rocked gently by swells. The silence is deep, broken only by the quiet splash of water against wood. You feel small, but not alone. The ocean's vastness cradles you, reminding you that you are part of something infinite, that rest is natural within such immensity. The ocean teaches lessons too. Waves remind us that motion is constant, but motion can be gentle. Storms remind us of respect, but also resilience. Calm seas remind us that peace exists, even after turmoil. Weather, on land or sea, is not permanent. It shifts, flows, changes. To watch the ocean's weather is to be reminded of impermanence, not as loss, but as rhythm. So tonight, let the ocean be your lullaby. Imagine waves rising and falling, steady as breath. Imagine storms fading into calm, calm stretching into peace. Imagine salt air on your skin, moonlight on water, infinity above and below. Let the ocean's weather surround you in your dreams, carrying you on its tides, rocking you gently as you drift into sleep. The ocean has always been there, whispering with waves, singing with storms, glowing with calm. Its weather is eternal, a rhythm without end, and in that rhythm, we find our own rest. Mountains rise like guardians of the earth, immense and unmoving, yet crowned with skies that shift constantly. At their summits, weather feels different, sharper, cleaner, often more dramatic. To stand on a peak, or even to gaze at one from below, is to witness the meeting of stone and sky, permanence and change. Mountain weather is a paradox. It can be fierce, with storms forming suddenly, yet it also brings some of the calmest, clearest air on Earth. Air thins as it climbs. With altitude, the atmosphere grows lighter, cooler, and clearer. This is why mountain skies often appear more vivid, blues deeper, stars brighter, clouds closer. The thinner air scatters less light, creating clarity that feels almost otherworldly. Hikers often describe mountain skies as crystalline, as if a veil has been lifted, revealing the universe more directly. To look upward from a peak is to feel as though you are standing closer to the stars. Weather at high altitudes changes quickly. Clouds gather around peaks with little warning, wrapping summits in mist, then parting suddenly to reveal dazzling light. Rain can fall in bursts, followed by sunshine moments later. In winter, storms sweep across ridges, dropping snow that glitters like diamonds in sunlight. These rapid changes make mountains both dangerous and fascinating reminders of nature's unpredictability, of the balance between stillness and change. Snow and ice are constants at the highest peaks. Glaciers carve valleys, their slow movements shaping landscapes over millennia. Frost etches rocks in delicate lace, while avalanches thunder down slopes, dramatic but natural cycles of renewal. Yet snow can also be peaceful. Falling gently on alpine meadows, it transforms rugged terrain into soft whiteness. At night, when the moonlight reflects on snowfields, mountains glow with an ethereal light, as if lit from within. Wind, too, has a special voice in the mountains. It rushes through passes, whistles across ridges, and roars at summits. but it can also whisper, brushing through pines, stirring alpine flowers, carrying scents of stone and soil. Mountain wind feels pure, untamed, filled with stories from distant lands. To breathe it in is to feel both cleansed and humbled. Cultures living among mountains have always respected their weather. The Himalayas are called the abode of snow, revered as sacred and eternal. In Andean traditions, peaks are living beings, apus, mountain spirits who protect communities. In Japan, Mount Fuji's misty crown has long been a symbol of mystery and reverence. Everywhere, mountains embody permanence, but their skies embody impermanence, a balance of stone and cloud, eternity and moment. Science sees mountains as weather makers. Air forced upward along slopes cools and condenses, creating rain on one side and dry winds on the other. This rain shadow shapes ecosystems, turning valleys lush and plains arid. Mountains also guide winds, channeling jet streams and altering global climates. Their peaks serve as observatories, where scientists measure atmosphere, radiation, and even cosmic particles, all clearer in the thin, high air. Yet, beyond science, mountains stir imagination. Poets speak of mist rolling over ridges, of sunsets painting cliffs crimson, of storms crowning peaks with lightning. Painters capture snow-capped summits beneath cobalt skies. Travelers carry memories of mountain dawns, when the first sunlight gilds peaks in pink and gold, while valleys below still sleep in shadow. These are not just weather events, they are moments of awe, reminders of scale, of beauty beyond measure. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a mountain meadow. The air is crisp, cool against your skin. Clouds drift just above, close enough to feel tangible. The grass sways gently in the breeze, carrying the scent of wildflowers. In the distance, peaks glow in sunlight, their ridges sharp against the sky. A bird circles overhead, its wings catching the wind. In this place, every detail feels heightened, every breath deeper. The mountain's weather surrounds you, both calming and invigorating. Or picture a night high in the mountains. The sky is clear, stars brighter than you have ever seen. The Milky Way stretches across the darkness, a river of light flowing overhead. The air is still, cold but clean. Around you, snow reflects starlight, making the ground glow faintly. There is no sound except the faint sigh of wind. In this silence, the weather feels not like a force, but like a presence, vast, eternal, gentle. Mountains also remind us of patience. Their weather shifts quickly, but the stone endures. Snow falls, melts, falls again. Winds roar, then quiet. Clouds cover, then part. The mountain remains, bearing witness to every cycle. In this way, mountains teach resilience. We too face storms and calms, changes and stillness. Yet beneath it, something steady endures. As you prepare for sleep, imagine yourself resting at the base of a great peak. Clouds gather above, then drift away. Stars appear, one by one, in the clear air. Wind rustles the trees gently. Snow glows faintly on high ridges. You feel safe, cradled by the immensity around you. The mountain's weather is not frightening. It is a lullaby, ancient and patient, reminding you that change and permanence coexist. The skies of mountains are among the most beautiful on earth. They shift quickly, but they always return blue after grey, calm after storm, light after dark. To dream of mountains is to dream of both strength and softness, endurance and renewal. Let their weather remind you that peace is possible, even amid change, and that rest can be found even at the highest peaks. The desert may seem empty at first glance, but its weather is among the most profound on earth. It is not defined by abundance, but by scarcity, scarcity of rain, of clouds, of shade. Yet within that scarcity lies a special kind of beauty. Desert weather is not loud or constant. It is quiet, restrained, and patient. To stand in a desert is to stand in a place where every drop of rain, every gust of wind, every shift of temperature carries weight. In the silence of vast sands, weather becomes not background, but essence. The most striking feature of desert weather is its extremes. Days blaze with heat, the sun pouring down unhindered by cloud. Temperatures climb high, sometimes unbearable. Yet nights cool swiftly, the heat escaping into the open sky, leaving air crisp, even cold. This dramatic contrast, scorching day, chilled night, creates a rhythm that shapes every creature, plant, and traveler who enters the desert. Life adapts to move at dawn and dusk, to rest in shade, to endure the balance of extremes. Rain in the desert is rare, but unforgettable. Months may pass without a single drop, until one day clouds gather, winds rise, and a storm bursts suddenly over the land. Rain falls hard and fast, soaking thirsty soil. Rivers appear where hours earlier there was only sand. Seeds hidden in the ground for years awaken, sprouting flowers that bloom in dazzling colors. Within days, the desert transforms into a garden, alive with fragrance and life. And just as quickly, the blooms fade, the water vanishes, and the land returns to stillness. Desert rain is fleeting, but it is miracle enough to sustain entire ecosystems. Wind is a constant companion in deserts. It sculpts dunes into endless waves, shifting sands from one horizon to another. It carries whispers across empty plains, a voice that seems to come from nowhere yet fills the air. Sometimes it howls, raising dust storms that blot out sun and sky. Other times it sighs, brushing over rocks and sparse shrubs with gentleness. Wind is both artist and eraser, shaping landscapes while erasing footprints. In deserts, the wind is history written and rewritten every day. The silence of desert weather is perhaps its most calming feature. Without constant rain, without rustling forests, without crowded sounds of water or leaves, the desert rests in stillness. This silence is not emptiness, it is presence. You can hear your own breath, your own heartbeat, more clearly. The faint chirp of a distant bird or the shuffle of a lizard becomes magnified in importance. In such quiet, the world feels vast, but the self feels centered. Cultures have long seen deserts as sacred spaces. In the Bible, prophets wandered deserts to find visions. In Islamic tradition, the desert was both trial and teacher, shaping the endurance of early communities. Native peoples of North America revered deserts as testing grounds and holy lands where survival meant wisdom. Across traditions, the desert's weather was not seen as absence but as truth. Stripped of abundance, what remains is essential. Science reveals deserts as delicate systems. They form where air descends, warming and drying, preventing clouds from forming. They cover about a third of Earth's land, from the Sahara to the Atacama, from the Gobi to the Mojave. Each has its own weather, some blazing hot, others icy cold. The Atacama in Chile has places where rain has not fallen for centuries, yet fog, drifting from the ocean, sustains unique life. Antarctica, the coldest desert, hides its storms of snow and ice under endless winds. Deserts remind us that weather is not only about rain and storm, but also about silence and scarcity. Imagine yourself now in a desert at dusk. The sun sinks low, the sky glows orange, purple, and deep red. Heat fades quickly, and coolness settles. The sand beneath your feet radiates the warmth of the day, but the air carries a chill. The wind sighs softly, brushing grains into tiny streams. Above, Stars begin to appear, first a few, then thousands, until the entire sky glitters. You feel small, but not alone. The desert holds you in its vastness, reminding you of patience, of stillness, of timelessness. Or picture standing in the desert during rare rain. Drops fall, darkening the sand, pooling in cracks. The scent of petrichor fills the air, stronger here than anywhere else, because the earth is so thirsty. Within hours, flowers push through soil, colors covering dunes. You stand amazed, watching transformation bloom from scarcity. Then, just as quickly, the rain stops, the sun returns, and the desert resumes its quiet. Yet, the memory of the storm lingers, proof that life endures even here. Desert weather teaches lessons. It teaches resilience: plants storing water, animals moving only at night, people finding ways to thrive with little. It teaches appreciation: every drop of rain, every breeze of wind, every patch of shade is a gift. And it teaches humility: the desert is vast, patient, eternal, compared to our fleeting presence. To rest in a desert is to rest within timelessness, where silence itself becomes lullaby. As you prepare for sleep, imagine the desert's quiet weather around you, the air cool, the sand warm, the wind whispering softly, the sky above infinite with stars, the horizon unbroken. Let this stillness wrap you. Let it slow your thoughts. Let it remind you that rest is found not only in abundance, but in simplicity. The desert's weather is not barren, it is pure. It strips away the unnecessary, leaving only essentials: heat and cold, wind and silence, scarcity and beauty. And in that simplicity lies profound calm. So tonight, sleep as though in the desert under endless stars, within quiet air, surrounded by patience and eternity. For the desert teaches us that even in emptiness, there is peace. If deserts are defined by scarcity, forests are defined by abundance. Their weather is not quiet absence, but layered presence: moisture, shade, rainfall, and the constant murmur of leaves stirred by the wind. To walk in a forest is to walk through an orchestra of weather, where every droplet, every gust, every beam of filtered sunlight plays its part in a harmony that stretches back millions of years. The first thing one notices in a forest is the shade. Trees, standing shoulder to shoulder, create canopies that filter sunlight into patches of gold and green. Even on the hottest summer day, the air beneath the canopy is cooler, the ground damp and fragrant with earth. This is forest weather at its simplest. Shade as climate, branches and leaves turning sunlight into calm. You can feel the temperature drop the moment you step under the trees, as though you have crossed an invisible threshold from heat into sanctuary. Rain in forests takes on its own unique character. In open fields, rain falls freely, tapping on roofs and soil. In forests, rain is slowed, caught by branches, leaves, and moss. You hear it long before it touches the ground, a layered soundscape of drops, tapping, dripping, splashing. Some droplets slide down trunks, tracing dark lines on bark. Others linger on leaves, catching light like jewels before falling at last. A rainstorm in a forest is less a single event than a sequence, rain moving in stages from sky to canopy to earth, nourishing everything in its path. The forest floor tells the story of this rain. Rich with humus and fallen leaves, it soaks up water slowly, holding moisture long after the storm has passed. Mushrooms push up overnight, ferns unfurl, moss deepens in green. Small pools reflect the canopy above, home to insects and amphibians. Even in silence, you can feel rain's presence lingering, feeding roots hidden from sight. Forest weather does not come and go, it stays, stored in the soil, breathing through the undergrowth. Wind in forests has a voice unlike anywhere else. In the desert, wind is a sculptor. In the mountains, it is a roar. In forests, Wind is a choir. A single gust can ripple through branches, turning leaves into instruments of sound. The pitch changes with the season. In summer, leaves rustle like whispered laughter. In autumn, dry leaves rattle like paper. In winter, bare branches creak and moan. To sit in a forest and listen to wind is to hear weather translated into music, each tree a different note, each grove a shifting chord. Forests also create their own weather. Trees release water vapor into the air through transpiration, forming clouds that drift and gather above. This cycle, water drawn from roots, released from leaves, rising into the sky, and returning as rain, makes forests engines of climate. The Amazon, often called the lungs of the earth, is not only vast in scale, but vast in influence, sending moisture far beyond its borders. In this way, forest weather is not local but global, shaping rainfall patterns on continents thousands of miles away. Seasonal changes add further richness. In spring, forests awaken with gentle rains and warming air, filling streams and coaxing blossoms. In summer, they hum with life, the canopy thick, the air damp and heavy with the scent of flowers and soil. Autumn transforms them into rivers of color, leaves blazing red, orange, and gold before falling like confetti in the wind. Winter brings quiet, the forest hushed under frost or snow, weather reduced to the simplest forms, stillness, cold, and the faint warmth of low Sunday. Scientific eyes, too, find marvels here. Forests' moderate climate, softening extremes. They buffer floods, storing rainfall in soil and roots. They generate humidity that cools regions otherwise prone to heat. Forests are not passive backdrops. They are active participants in weather, shaping it, maintaining it, balancing it. Every breath of damp air in a forest is proof of that. Imagine yourself now in a forest during a light summer rain. You hear droplets above before you feel them. The canopy rustles with sound, like 1,000 tiny drums. Light filters through wet leaves, creating shifting mosaics of green. The air smells of rain and earth, cool and clean. You walk slowly, each step sinking into soft ground, your thoughts as unhurried as the rhythm of falling water. Or picture a forest at dawn. Mist clings to the undergrowth, rising in pale ribbons as sunlight pierces through. Birds call, their voices sharp in the still air. Dew sparkles on spiderwebs, tiny orbs of weather captured in silk. The air is cool, the ground damp, and every breath you take feels fresh, as though the forest itself has exhaled for you. Forests invite you to slow down, to match their pace. They are never hurried. Their weather shifts gently, in cycles of moisture and shade, sunlight and rain. To rest in a forest is to rest in patience, in continuity. The trees have stood for centuries. The rains have fallen for millennia, and the rhythm of leaves whispering in wind is older than any human song. As you drift towards sleep tonight, imagine lying beneath a canopy of leaves. You hear rain tapping above, wind murmuring through branches, and the steady heartbeat of the forest in its sounds. Let those rhythms become your own. Let them slow your breath, calm your thoughts, and guide you gently into rest. Forest weather is not dramatic. It is not thunderous or violent, though storms may come. Its true gift lies in balance, shade that cools, rain that nourishes, wind that soothes. It is a weather of protection, of constancy, of gentle cycles, and in its embrace you can find peace, as countless generations before you have found, walking into forests to seek quiet, reflection, and renewal. So tonight, sleep as though under trees, sheltered, cooled, and carried by the whispers of weather that has watched over the earth since time began. Mountains rise where the earth folds upon itself, lifting stone into sky. Their peaks pierce clouds, their slopes divide climates, and their weather is among the most dramatic found anywhere on earth. To imagine mountain weather is to imagine extremes, sunlight blazing one moment, storms sweeping in the next. And yet, within those extremes lies beauty, a reminder that weather is not only gentle rhythm, but also raw force, shaping landscapes and spirits alike. Temperature is one of the most striking features. For every 1,000 meters climbed, air cools by roughly 6 degrees Celsius. What begins as a mild valley morning can become freezing by the time you reach the summit. This gradient creates distinct zones of life. At lower slopes, forests thrive. Higher up, meadows bloom briefly in summer, then surrender to barren rock. At the highest peaks, glaciers and snowfields persist, locked in eternal winter. The layering of climates on a single mountain is like walking from tropics to poles in the span of a few hours. Mountains also sculpt clouds. As moist air rises up their slopes, it cools and condenses, forming mist and storms. This process, called orographic lift, creates rainfall on windward slopes while leaving leeward sides dry, sometimes even desert-like. The Andes feed the lush Amazon basin on one side, while guarding the arid Atacama Desert on the other. The Himalayas block monsoon rains from crossing into Tibet, leaving its plateau stark and dry. In this way, mountain weather shapes not only peaks, but entire continents. Storms in mountains are especially powerful. Thunder echoes across valleys, amplified by rock walls. Lightning strikes peaks and ridges with frightening frequency, searching for the highest conductor. Winds funnel through passes, turning narrow ridges into precarious tightropes. Snowstorms can descend suddenly, burying trails in silence. To witness such storms is to feel the raw power of Earth's atmosphere concentrated, intensified by terrain. And then there is snow. Mountains are its guardians, storing it in glaciers that feed rivers for billions of people. In winter, snow blankets, slopes, muffling sound, and turning landscapes into monochrome stillness. In spring, meltwater rushes down valleys, carving channels and nourishing fields far below. For many cultures, snow on mountains is sacred, a symbol of purity, renewal, and the source of life-giving water. Yet snow also carries danger. Avalanches roar down slopes with unstoppable force. Weather transformed into movement, into a cascade of ice and stone. Mountains also create unique winds. Katabatic winds tumble down slopes at night, carrying chilled air into valleys. Foehn winds, warm and dry, descend on leeward sides, sometimes raising temperatures dramatically in minutes. Climbers know how these winds can change a landscape's mood, turning calm ridges into perilous arenas. In legend and folklore, such winds are often given personality, imagined as spirits or gods testing human endurance. But not all mountain weather is fierce. There are moments of profound serenity. Picture a mountain meadow in summer, wildflowers swaying, bees humming, clouds drifting lazily overhead. The air is cool, fragrant with pine and grass. A gentle breeze carries the sound of water trickling from melting snow. In these moments, mountain weather is not storm, but sanctuary. It reminds us that even in harsh places, gentleness thrives. At dawn and dusk, mountains gift us with spectacle. Sunrises paint peaks in shades of pink and gold, alpenglow shimmering like fire on stone. At sunset, shadows stretch long, valleys sink into darkness while summits still burn with light. Clouds swirl around ridges, catching color, reflecting hues across the sky. These daily performances are as much weather as rain or wind, created by the angle of light meeting thin, high air. Culturally, mountains have always carried symbolism, and their weather amplifies it. To ancient peoples, storms on peaks were signs of gods in anger. Lightning on summits became divine fire. In Greek mythology, Mount Olympus was the seat of Zeus, thunderbolt in hand. In the Andes, peaks were apis, spirits guarding communities, their weather both blessing and warning. Even today, climbers often speak of mountains as though they are alive, their moods shifting with storms and skies. Scientifically, mountain weather offers insights into climate change. Glaciers retreat, snowlines rise, and storms grow less predictable. What happens in mountains often foreshadows what will happen globally. Their weather is not isolated, but interconnected with oceans, forests, and plains. To study mountains is to study Earth's future. Imagine yourself now in a mountain landscape. The air is crisp, thinner than in valleys below. Clouds drift swiftly, their shadows racing across slopes. In the distance, thunder rumbles, but above you, sunlight filters through gaps, illuminating ridges in fleeting brilliance. You feel both awe and humility, aware of the grandeur, aware of the danger. And yet, you also feel peace, a quiet recognition that the mountain endures, its weather cycling endlessly, beyond human control. To fall asleep with mountains in mind is to sleep with perspective. Their weather teaches resilience, patience, and respect. It reminds us that change is natural, that storms pass, that serenity follows. Mountains are not only obstacles or goals, they are teachers, their weather lessons written in wind, snow, and Sunday. So tonight, as you drift toward rest, picture yourself high among peaks. The sky above is vast, the air sharp but refreshing. A breeze stirs, gentle, carrying the scent of stone and pine. Clouds gather, then part, revealing stars more brilliant than you have ever seen. You are safe, sheltered in thought, watching the weather unfold across slopes and valleys. And as you close your eyes, the mountains cradle you in their vastness, their weather a lullaby of wind and silence. The oceans cover more than 2/3 of Earth's surface, and their weather is as vast and varied as their waters. To imagine ocean weather is to imagine movement winds sweeping across endless horizons, waves rising and falling with steady rhythm, storms brewing with a power that dwarfs human effort. Yet within this immensity lies calm, moments of stillness where the sea becomes a mirror reflecting the sky. Ocean weather is at once terrifying and tranquil, destructive and soothing, chaos and peace combined. Sunlight plays its role too. Warm air above equatorial waters rises, cools, and falls, setting vast circulations in motion. These patterns drive trade winds, monsoons, and hurricanes. They shape climates not only on coasts, but far inland. A storm born in the tropics can cross oceans, alter jet streams, and affect rainfall thousands of miles away. The weather of the ocean is not confined to its waves. It is the engine of Earth's atmosphere, pumping energy and moisture into the sky. And then there are storms. Few phenomena capture human awe more than hurricanes, typhoons, or cyclones, different names for the same force. Over warm waters, clusters of thunderstorms organize, spiraling into great machines of wind and rain. They feed on heat from the sea, growing stronger as they move. At their peak, hurricanes unleash winds faster than a racing car, waves taller than houses, and rainfall that can flood entire regions. From satellites, they appear beautiful spirals of white cloud, calm at the center, fury at the edges. From ships or coasts, they appear terrifying, reminders of nature's power. But ocean storms come in many forms. Winter gales sweep across the North Atlantic, driving waves that test even the largest vessels. Monsoons bring rains that nourish crops across Asia, even as their winds can sink fishing boats. Squalls arise suddenly, blackening skies, whipping seas into foam. For sailors throughout history, ocean weather was both lifeline and threat. It could speed their journeys with fair winds, or trap them in doldrums, vast regions of calm, where sails hung limp and supplies dwindled. Calm seas, however, are no less remarkable. Imagine an early morning on a quiet ocean. The water is glassy, smooth as polished stone. Sky and sea blur, horizon dissolving, leaving the impression of floating in infinity. A gentle swell lifts and lowers you, heartbeat of the planet, steady and slow. In such moments, the immensity of the ocean feels less frightening and more like an embrace. Weather is not only storm, it is also serenity. Ocean weather also brings fog. When warm, moist air drifts over cooler water, condensation forms, shrouding waves in pale mist. Sailors know how disorienting it can be. Horizon hidden, sounds muffled, distances uncertain. Yet fog carries beauty too. Gulls cry in the haze, buoys toll softly, and the sea feels like a dream suspended in grey. For coastal towns, fog is both inconvenience and character, a reminder that the sea writes its own moods. Currents add another dimension. Though not weather in the strict sense, they shape climates by moving warm and cold water across the globe. The Gulf Stream carries tropical warmth northward, softening European winters. The Humboldt Current chills South American coasts, enriching waters with nutrients that feed vast fisheries. When these currents shift, as in El Niño years, weather patterns across the world are disrupted. Droughts in one place, floods in another. The ocean's pulse becomes Earth's weather. Scientifically, studying ocean weather is crucial for understanding climate. Buoys, satellites, and ships collect endless data: temperature, wind speed, wave height. Forecasts protect ships, planes, and coastal communities. But even with technology, the ocean holds surprises. A rogue wave, appearing without warning, can rise twice as high as surrounding seas, swallowing vessels. Such waves were once considered myth, but satellites and instruments have confirmed their reality. The ocean still keeps secrets. For those who live by the sea, ocean weather is daily life. Fishermen read the horizon, watching for dark clouds or sudden shifts in wind. Coastal farmers depend on sea breezes to temper heat. Beachgoers watch tides, surfers chase swells, sailors scan charts of currents and winds. For billions, the ocean is not distant. It is home, livelihood, rhythm. Its weather is as familiar as seasons, even as it surprises. Now imagine yourself drifting on calm waters at night. The horizon is hidden, the stars reflected so clearly that sky and sea seem to merge. A faint breeze stirs, carrying the salt of the ocean. Far away, perhaps beyond sight, a storm brews, its energy sending long swells that gently lift your boat. You feel both small and infinite, aware of the forces around you, yet safe within their rhythm. The ocean's weather is vast, but in this moment, it is also lullaby. The lesson of ocean weather is balance. It can destroy, but it also sustains. Storms may terrify, but calm seas soothe. Waves may wreck ships, but they also carry nutrients, shape coasts, and stir life. The ocean is not enemy or friend. It is itself, vast and enduring. To know its weather is to accept its duality, to see that peace and chaos are part of the same whole. So as you rest tonight, picture the sea in all its moods. See hurricanes spiraling from above, waves roaring against cliffs. Then see horizons soft with mist, sunsets gilding calm waters. Hear the crash of surf, then the hush of gentle ripples. Let ocean weather remind you that life, too, shifts between turbulence and calm, and that both are natural, both are part of the same journey. Deserts are often imagined as places without weather, silent expanses of sand stretching endlessly beneath unbroken skies. But the truth is subtler and more fascinating. Weather in deserts is not absent. It is extreme, delicate, and sometimes surprisingly beautiful. To speak of desert weather is to speak of contrast: burning days, freezing nights, sudden storms, and fragile moments of stillness that can feel like eternity. Begin with heat. In daylight, deserts can become ovens, with temperatures soaring above 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 43 Celsius, and sometimes much higher. With little vegetation to soften the sun's rays and little moisture in the air to absorb heat, the desert's surface warms rapidly. Sand becomes hot enough to sear bare feet, rocks shimmer with rising heat waves, and the horizon wavers as air bends light. This shimmering is the beginning of the mirage, a trick of physics that makes distant sand appear as water. Travelers through history have followed such illusions, only to find more emptiness. Yet for us, resting in imagination, the mirage is not cruel, it is magical, a reminder that even air and light can weave dreams. Rain is rare, but when it comes, it transforms the desert. A year may pass with only a few inches of precipitation, yet those few inches can arrive in sudden bursts. Thunderclouds gather, lightning flashes, and sheets of rain fall onto the parched land. Because the soil is hard and dry, it cannot absorb the water quickly, and flash floods sweep through canyons and wadis. What seemed barren becomes dangerous rivers of muddy water, carving new paths in minutes. Yet just as quickly, the rain nourishes seeds hidden for years. Within days, flowers bloom, carpets of color spreading across dunes and valleys. A desert storm is both destruction and rebirth, weather as spectacle and renewal. Wind is the constant companion of deserts. Over centuries, it sculpts sand dunes into waves, ridges, and spirals, landscapes that seem alive, though they move slowly. Dust devils whirl across flats, twisting columns of air dancing like playful spirits. In stronger winds, sandstorms rise walls of dust, stretching for miles, blotting out the sun, turning day into twilight. Travelers caught in such storms describe the roar of grains against skin and fabric, the suffocating density of air filled with sand. Yet from afar, these storms are strangely beautiful, great curtains of earth rising into sky, shifting shapes like living mountains of dust. There is another form of desert weather silence. In still moments, with no wind, no clouds, no movement, deserts become places of absolute quiet. The air hangs motionless, sound carries for miles, and even your own heartbeat seems amplified. This stillness is its own kind of weather, not measured by instruments, but by sensation. It is the weather of pause, of timelessness, of reflection. Animals and plants have adapted to this rhythm of extremes. Cacti swell with stored rain, opening flowers at night when air is cool. Desert foxes sleep in burrows by day, hunting by starlight when the air is gentle. Camels endure heat and dryness, their bodies reservoirs of resilience. All are shaped by weather, living in harmony with cycles that would overwhelm less adapted life. In their survival is a quiet lesson. Even the harshest weather contains balance and possibility. For humans, deserts have long been stages of story. Prophets, wanderers, and poets have walked their sands, finding meaning in the simplicity of sky and stone. Storms have been seen as divine messages, mirages as symbols of desire, oases as gifts of mercy. The desert's weather is not only physical, it is metaphorical. Heat becomes passion, storms become trials, silence becomes meditation. To imagine desert weather is to imagine the inner landscape of the soul. Scientifically, deserts remind us of climate's diversity. Polar deserts, like Antarctica, receive as little rain as the Sahara, but in the form of snow and ice. Cold or hot, deserts are defined not by temperature, but by dryness. Their weather is the weather of absence. Little rain, few clouds, long stretches of sameness interrupted by bursts of intensity. Yet, within this apparent emptiness lies complexity. Meteorologists study desert winds to understand global dust cycles. For particles lifted from Africa can cross oceans and fertilize the Amazon rainforest. In this way, desert weather connects continents, linking barren dunes with lush forests thousands of miles away. Now, picture yourself in a desert evening. The heat of the day fades, the horizon glows orange and purple, and a breeze stirs grains of sand into gentle waves. Above you, stars ignite one by one, until the sky is a tapestry brighter than any city could allow. You feel the coolness seep into the air, wrapping you in silence. Perhaps, in the distance, a storm flickers, lightning illuminating clouds you cannot hear. It is both near and far, both threat and beauty. In that moment, you understand that desert weather is not absence, but presence. Presence of extremes, of contrasts, of awe. The lesson of desert weather is resilience. Life persists in heat and cold, in drought and flood. Sand dunes move, but do not vanish. Flowers bloom briefly, but return again and again. Even storms, violent and sudden, give way to silence, to skies so clear they remind us of eternity. The desert teaches that harshness and beauty are not opposites, but companions. And in that companionship lies a wisdom worth carrying. As we reach the end of this journey through 100 relaxing facts about weather, let us pause to reflect. Weather, so often seen as background, is, in truth, the music of our planet. It shapes landscapes, nurtures life, inspires stories, and provides comfort. In every breeze, in every drop of rain, in every flash of lightning, there is rhythm. And tonight, that rhythm becomes a lullaby, inviting us to rest. Think of the many voices we have visited. The gentle patter of rain on leaves, steady and soft, has accompanied us like the ticking of a clock that keeps time for the earth. The sigh of wind through grass and trees has whispered secrets older than memory. Snow has hushed the world into stillness, while thunderstorms have rolled across horizons with power and grace. Weather does not speak in words, but in sounds and sensations that touch us deeply, even when we are not conscious of listening. Weather is also light. The fiery colors of dawn and dusk, born of sunlight scattering through air, remind us that even endings can be beautiful beginnings. Rainbows arch across skies as promises after storms. The shimmer of mirages, the glow of auroras, the silver light of moonlit clouds, all are weather's brushstrokes, painting the atmosphere anew each day. These sights soothe us not because they last, but because they are fleeting, teaching us to treasure the moment. In deserts, weather showed us resilience, the ability to endure heat, to bloom after rain, to find peace in silence. In oceans, weather showed us power and rhythm, storms and calms shaping the heartbeat of the planet. In forests and mountains, weather revealed harmony, how snow feeds rivers, how breezes carry seeds, how rain sustains green life. Across every landscape, weather is both sculptor and companion. And still, weather is intimate. We carry it with us daily. The chill of morning air on our skin, the relief of shade on a hot afternoon, the comfort of blankets while rain falls outside. These small encounters are personal lullabies, reminders that we are part of Earth's breathing. When we rest, it rests with us. When we stir, we feel its touch again. There is also a quiet truth in weather's unpredictability. We cannot command it. We can only witness it. Forecasts grow more accurate, yet surprises remain. A sudden storm, a shift in wind, a rainbow where none was expected, these remind us that life itself resists control. And perhaps that is why weather feels like a lullaby. It is larger than us, yet gentle enough to hold us, like a cradle rocking without our asking. Consider the span of time. Weather is ancient. Long before humans, clouds gathered, rain fell, snow-covered valleys, and winds-carved dunes. Dinosaurs heard thunder. Ice ages froze continents. Volcanoes filled skies with ash. And through all of it, the planet sang in weather's voice. When we fall asleep, listening to rain or imagining storms, we are connecting with a song billions of years old. In that connection lies comfort. Weather also teaches humility. A storm can remind us of our smallness. A calm evening can remind us of our fragility. But in each case, the lesson is gentle. We are part of something vast. Our lives, busy and anxious, are carried on currents we cannot always see. To remember this is not to despair, but to rest. The universe does not demand our control. It invites our trust. So let this final reflection be a meditation. Picture yourself lying beneath a sky that changes with weather's moods. Clouds drift like pillows, rain falls like beads of rhythm, wind moves like breath, lightning flashes like thought. Around you, the world shifts, yet you are safe, warm, and held. The weather outside becomes the weather within your breath, steady as breezes, your heartbeat as regular as rain. As you drift further into rest, imagine all the facts we have shared, not as separate, but as one great story. The weight of clouds, the silence of snow, the brilliance of auroras, the mystery of mirages, they are chapters of the same book, the story of Earth's living sky. To read that story is to feel both awe and peace. And tonight, it becomes your bedtime reading, guiding you gently toward dreams. Sleep, after all, is not so different from weather. It arrives, it changes, it passes, it renews. Dreams are our inner rainbows, our private auroras, our secret storms and calms. Just as the planet breathes in weather, we breathe in sleep, restored by rhythms beyond our conscious control. So close your eyes now. Let the rain of memory fall softly. Let the wind of imagination carry you gently. Let the snow of stillness settle over you. Let the thunder of worry fade into the distance. And let the rainbow of dreams arch across your mind, fragile and luminous. This is weather's final gift to you tonight. Not fear, not urgency, but peace. The world outside may change with storms and sun, but inside you are steady, safe, and ready to rest. Weather has sung its lullaby. Now let sleep take you the rest of the way. Good night. Sleep well. Sweet dreams.